Jonathan Rea making his way off the final turn, and Michael van der Mark's also on a good lap directly in front of him on track. Van der Mark's actually gone P6 with that, 1 minute 38.601, but it's P1 for Jonathan Rea, a 1 minute 37.707, his fastest time of the day so far. Good enough for top spot in FP2, also moves him closer to Toprak Razgatlioglu's fastest time of the day, just 0.2 of a second faster in FP1 earlier on. That's good news for Jonathan Rea, not least because it was the second lap, remember, of his flying laps, and his first one had been spoiled by two riders in front of him running slower. So a little bit of traffic for Jonathan Rea on that first ride.
You can see here for Scott Redding now on course to improve his personal best in this session. He's still the fastest BMW rider on the combined times, but he's only a few hundredths of a second faster than his teammate Michael van der Mark now for the day. Van der Mark's found a half a second this afternoon, and that's going to be really promising and encouraging for the BMW rider. We've seen Loris Baz make a step forward in this session as well, and for Loris, he's only a couple of tenths behind van der Mark as well. So as what we've seen over the course of the last few rounds, the BMW riders all pretty closely matched for Baz van der Mark, and for Scott Redding, Eugene Laverty giving up a little bit of ground to them in this session. He's a half a second slower than Redding in this session, and needs to find a bit of time. Yes,
we heard from Sean Muir earlier on saying that neither Scott Redding nor Michael van der Mark had used the X tyre, the softer rubber available to them for free practice 1, and they finished Scott Redding 8th and Michael van der Mark in 10th. Van der Mark's up in 7th position this afternoon in FP2. Alex Lowe's up and running with his latest lap. Toprak Razgatlioglu just rejoining the circuit for what's going to be the final few minutes here, so should get a lap or two in before the checkered flag falls. We collect Alex Lowe's now, currently 5th fastest in this session. We talked about his consistent lap times. He's out for more here, and looking good for a potential personal best as well.
Yeah, time attack here at the end of the session for Lowe's, and that's been one of the big strengths for him this season, and it's been interesting to see him really find that one lap pace again, because if you think back to his big moment there at the end of the short straight into turn 10, we'll see if he's lost time with that, but one of the big strengths he had whenever he was a Yamaha rider was his ability with the Q tyre in the single lap. It's taken him a bit of time to find that balance with the Kawasaki now, but over the course of this season and the second half of last year, even whenever he had some pretty bad injuries, he was able to really find the step in the Q tyre. He's now doing a really good job in that single lap pace. We've seen him on the front row on numerous occasions this season. We've seen him obviously close to Jonathan Rea at a few tracks in terms of what he's been able to out-qualify him a few times as well. So that's a big area where he's made his step, and here at the end of this session he's trying to make another step.
Yes, completely agree. Of course, how strong he was on the Yamaha in Superpole was emphasised slightly by the fact that he had Michael van der Mark on the other side of the pit box at times, and van der Mark's never been the best for single lap pace, but little doubt about it, Alex Lowe's been excellent in Superpole sessions this season. Actually, he's been one of the main thorns in the side of Alvaro Bautista, because he's been the man often relegating Bautista onto the second row of the grid.
Yeah, one of the interesting things is, and we heard from Kim Rhoda down in the pits only a few minutes ago, there's a much more harmonious relationship within Kawasaki now. It's not butting heads against each other as had been the case if you think back to especially the Tom Sykes versus Jonathan Rea era, where it seemed that the two crew chiefs, Parariba for Rea and Marcel Dwinker for Tom, they really seemed to be competing with each other. Now they're realizing that we're much better if we work together. Lowe's saying that the relationship he has with Rea is very similar to how it was with Michael van der Mark. He's got a lot of respect for what Rea's able to do, but Rea is also looking at it and say, what can I get from the other side of the pit box? And that means that there's a lot of mutual respect there, and they've been able to work really well together. You have to do that when you're chasing other bikes and teams and riders, because you're not the measuring stick anymore, so you've got to work together to be able to find that improvement.
Riding on board here with Toprak Razgatlioglu, and with just 1 minute remaining in this free practice 2.
Yeah, and you can see everyone just taking a little bit easy at different times, and for Toprak, that looks like it's Jonathan Rea in front of him now, so he'll get a good indication here on the last flying lap to see where he's stacking up against the number 65.
Yes, both of them heading towards turn 8, so that's the long back straight as far as they are concerned. Xavi Vierge there just running wide and across the curb on the exit of turn 15, I think that was, that he ran wide there. That will have cost him a little bit of time through the final sector. He was due for a new personal best lap, but drops back with that small error late on, so losing something to the tune of half a second on what he'd been able to do previously. Axel Bassani there crossing the line, new personal best lap of this afternoon. 1 minute 38.494 for Bassani, leaving him fifth fastest. So with the checkered flag seconds away now from falling, it's Jonathan Rea who leads ahead of Razgatlioglu, Bautista, Lowes and Bassani.
Yeah, just looking at the top 10, it's Toprak, Bassani, Lackawanna, Locatelli that haven't improved their times from this morning as well. So we'll wait and see what that's going to mean for the rest of the weekend. But as it is, they've all been able to get pretty close to those times at this stage. But clearly for Toprak, it was a little bit more comfortable in the morning session, but he's looked really good in this session as well, on the pace of everyone else, without being able to make that step like everyone else.
Checkered flag has fallen, and Jonathan Rea is your fastest man this afternoon, but only a tenth of a second between him and Toprak Razgatlioglu, in the top three from your championship in the top three positions this afternoon as well, all separated by less than 3/10 of a second. So that sets us up quite nicely for the remainder of this weekend. There is your checkered flag, which signifies the end of the day's proceedings Friday here in San Juan, as Iker Lackawanna comes in towards turn one. Late change in positions outside of the top 10. Scott Redding there just going P11. So 11th place this afternoon for Scott Redding, leaves him behind Loris Baz, who finished in 9th, and also Michael van der Mark, who finished the session in 7th. But as you mentioned previously, Steve, Redding still faster than those other BMW men on the combined times, thanks to his efforts from earlier on today. Jonathan Rea still following behind Toprak Razgatlioglu. Toprak losing a couple of tenths of a second in Sector 2, and I don't think we're going to see any improvements from those top two men, although Toprak is still only a tenth of a second behind Rea, so if he picks up something strongly through the final sector here, could still be an opportunity for Razgatlioglu to unseat Rea in these final moments.
Yeah, Toprak with the fastest sector 3 of the session, so he's really trying to push on here at the end of the session, needs to find a 10th.
Toprak Razgatlioglu then through the final turn with Jonathan Rea now in his wake, heading towards the line. 137.707 to beat. He can't quite do so. It is a new personal best from Razgatlioglu for this afternoon, 137.778. So still another lap, less than a tenth of a second from Rea's outright fastest time this afternoon.